Hello, friends. Welcome to another live stream. I'm Rachel Archelaus, and I'm here with the amazing Carrie Roldan. And today, we're going to talk real truth. Not my truth, not, your truth. We're going to find it. Because I know, things are kind of upside down this year. I know every person I've talked to is feeling differently about what they were doing last year, the year before. They're ready for a change. They're feeling like a change is coming. They're less likely to be tolerating what was going on last year that was just kind of maybe gently annoying. Now it's like, I cannot put up with that anymore. But that's scary because we don't know what's coming around the bend. And a lot of us are having these problems or issues or thoughts about how we make money. And that can be pretty terrifying. And so I've noticed a few themes over my coaching experience, my life, and this year. Apparently, astrologically, this is really lining up as well. And this is about how you are blocking the dough, how you are putting your hands up and saying, nope, I don't want that money right now. And it can be deeply frustrating if that's going on for you. So let's talk about it. Let's smooth it out. Let's get into the bold phrase Carrie and I were using yesterday, which is don't let your mission get in the way of your money. We're going to talk about that. I know I got a cute email from Dale being like, oh my God, that seems really harsh. What does that mean? So I even have an intuitive art drawing to show us how do we let the money in. And we're going to get to it. So put your questions in the chat about this as we get going, what you're experiencing this year. And hello to everyone who's already here, including Guillaume and Gina Maria and S. Kidwell. Okay. Hi, Carrie.
Hey, good to see you. And you guys, Rachel and I had the conversation yesterday about what today was going to be about. And I was so excited. And then today I messaged her I can't remember anything we said at all. So I got here today and I was pleasantly surprised about what I already knew, which is what we're talking about today. And I got to tell you, I'm feeling this. So you said it's lining up astrologically. And I think I have the same kind of vibe as you about astrology. I find it interesting and fascinating, but I don't know. I just don't necessarily have the attention span to care, but I always love it when it's validating to me, right? When it serves me, I'm like, okay. And man, the reason I'm saying this is because I felt such a shift in the past 2 days from where I had been in a lot of frustration and kind of self-doubt and knowing I am blocking the money, right? I knew I was in that. And that's a frustrating place to be when you're an enlightened person and you know what to do. And I felt such a shift these past 2 days. Thanks to our group for our dreamcasting call that I facilitated. It was helpful to all the people, but it was also helpful to me, which is wonderful. But then a friend sent me something saying, oh, it's because Mercury went direct. And I was like, oh, all right, well, serves me. I see the connection. So there we go on that. If you are an astrology person, I am feeling it with you. And I know a lot of you have felt maybe the past few days, a shift from total frustration into more hopefulness, into this call where we're ready to see and hear and receive and accept how we can stop blocking the money and start to let it in. Because I will tell you, if we had done this call last week, I would have been nodding my head and smiling, but not being able to receive it. So I'm here with the rest of you and I'm excited to have this conversation.
Excellent. So first, I want to talk to you all maybe where you are right now in terms of, let's talk about business first, because I know a lot of you are looking to create something or have a business or want to serve humanity, be a helper. That's who I deal with. That's what I am too. I really vibe with the people on the planet who are like, I want to make a difference, and I have access to this intuition or to this healing skill or whatever, and I want to help people. So I'm coming with you here. And actually, it's funny how almost difficult it's been for me to get on this ship too. So I want to be totally honest and be like, I'm seeing now how I've been resisting what I'm about to say as well. So I'm right there with you. I'm not just preaching. But we've probably heard that our purpose on this planet is to live in our joy, right? But that is difficult to create a business around, I think, for some people, because we could say, my joy is helping people. My joy is delivering service. My joy is fill in the blank, and think of it in that service-oriented tone. One of my favorite people, Denise DT, I think she has a lot of great stuff to share, but one of her mottos is, I serve, I deserve. And I think that's how a lot of people, I know I don't like it either, but I think that's how a lot of people feel. And so if we're really honest with ourselves, is that how we're framing the way money needs to come to us? Are we framing it like, I need to give something that I know is of value to people in order to receive money? And not only that, I want, for me to feel validated as a human, I want that to work. I want to receive the money from the thing that I've chosen to do in this world, or what's wrong with me if I don't. I see that a lot. People get very down on themselves if they can't make their business work, if they can't figure out what to offer or what to do. And there is, can you feel even just how I'm talking about it? It's quicksand. What do I offer? What do I do? Why aren't people buying from me? Where are my clients? Who are my clients? What do I call myself? All of this is just sinking us deeper and deeper, and definitely not helping us receive abundance. Because what are we missing with that? Where did the joy go? Where did our truth go? It may be true that you're a natural helper or healer, but that doesn't mean in order to be that you have to have a business around that. You are a helper and healer regardless of what you are doing during the day, regardless of whether you make any money at it. Even if you were like, well, I just give all of that stuff away for free and I accept donations. Like, I know people do some of that. It doesn't matter. It's like there is an inherent unworthiness that we are practicing if we are deciding how our money has to come to us in order for us to feel like we're actually doing it in the world and succeeding. And I'll let Carrie in a minute, but there are just so many people in the world who are struggling and fighting for that money to come to them in a way that they want it to come to them. Lottery, business, magical elf, like my email. I mean, that would be pretty cool. But we're ignoring the abundance that either already exists for us or is coming to us in other ways. Whether it is a random check from your insurance company, a tax return, a spouse's support, a friend's support, parent support, government support. We are supported in an infinite number of ways because it's all us. Our higher selves are doing everything possible to hand us what we want. And it's all us, whether it's a client, or whether it's a government check. It's all us. And if we can relax and accept and acknowledge and revel in the abundance that's flowing to us, regardless of what we're doing with our day, then we can open up and start receiving more. And we're going to get to the whole mission thing in a minute, but this is the crux of this. You are a worthy being, regardless of where your money's coming from. And if you're trying to micromanage the pots that fill up quickest, you're only ignoring the abundance that's already flowing to you. And therefore, putting a stop to it, basically. If you aren't feeling in relaxed abundance, you're not really letting it in. Okay, diatribe over for now.
Okay, I'm writing down what you said before I forget. If you're not feeling in relaxed abundance, you're not really letting it in, it being the money that I've asked for.
Not even that you've asked for. Let's go a step further from that. The money you've already energetically manifested. It's waiting for you. It's right there.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so I had something to say about how can I serve? And I was sharing this with Rachel yesterday, but I have an incredible client who is up to amazing things. And she is, her business is in its infancy. And she said every day she asks herself, like, how can I serve? And what can I do to make money today? Or something like that. And I said, well, let's make sure you're asking those questions, one, to the right source, right? That you're not asking your brain. But two, what if you asked, how could I serve my joy today? Instead of how could I serve humanity today or my next door neighbor or whatever, like, how could I actually serve my inner being today? How could I serve my joy? How could I serve my highest expression of myself today? And interestingly, right, like I think many of us who are here on this call have an intellectual knowing that when we are serving our highest joy, that's actually when we're in the best service to others. But it is hard. It is a hard thing for those of us who grew up conditioned in the world of a business, like a business exists to make money, right? There's that reality, and a business exists to solve a problem or serve a person, right? Like those are the things. So your job as a person, as a business owner, is to serve other people. And I just want to make sure that you're really hearing, maybe your business serves other people, but your job as someone who's bringing in money in whatever way is to serve your joy, is to serve the highest expression of you. I know early on in my business journey, I knew that, I was aware of that, and I was pushing very hard to make a business that served my highest joy. But I was pushing so hard that the joy kept leaving. Like it would just go. I couldn't find it. And it wasn't until I just kind of gave up that opportunities showed up. The business kind of grew legs and found itself as I was able to relax and figure out, oh, this is how I like to operate. Oh, these are the things that people are asking from me. Oh, this is something that comes so naturally. I hadn't thought about turning it into a job, right? All of those things happened. So I just wanted to make sure that that was like loud and clear. How can I serve my joy today? The fullest expression of me. When you do that, you are in service to the world. If you can't see it directly, who cares? Know it.
Yeah, I'll give you a great example. So I love to hike. I hiked yesterday in the snow. It was beautiful. And I also like YouTube. And I like watching people hike on YouTube when I'm not physically hiking, which sounds kind of weird. Like, why would I just watch someone walk? Right? It's like you could definitely second guess yourself if you're starting a hiking channel. Like, people want to watch me walk around in the woods. Like, isn't it all going to look the same? Isn't it going to be so boring? Like, I know when we're thinking about what our own joy is, we can really doubt that anyone else would be interested, right? But a couple years ago, this girl decided that she was an engineer. That's what she really thought she wanted to do. That's how she thought she could help people. She went to school for it. She got a job. She moved to Colorado, like great hiking. And she just didn't like it. She didn't like being inside in an office. She didn't like, it was engineering that got her outside occasionally, but it didn't fill that void in her, even though that was like her way of combining her love with a service, right? Her mission. She'd probably use service instead of mission. But it was gnawing at her so much, that unhappiness and that desire to like be outside more, that she decided to quit her job, which was very hard. Her family was not supportive. Her friends were not supportive. Nobody understood what she wanted to do. But she saved up a couple $1,000s. That was it. And decided to hike the Appalachian Trail, which is like a 6-month long through hike from Maine, from Georgia to Maine. And she documented it. And she even got a friend of hers to like go in on this channel with her. And the friend would be at home and edit the videos and post them. And then she would just record them. So she didn't even have to learn video editing. And kind of took off. Not at first, but she just kept doing what she loved. She had a great time. She was very vulnerable. She'd never even, been on a backpacking trip before that. She just knew that's what she wanted to do. And she has, I think, 500,000 subscribers now. This is how she makes her money now for many, many years. At first, when she got home from these long hikes, she would have a little microgreens business on the side, which anyone can also do. Like, she just made it work until the hiking was all she needed to do, and filming it, to make a living. And it's been, I don't know, 5 years now or something, maybe even more. And she gets paid to speak at places all around the country. She's an inspiration to, hundreds of thousands of people. And is just very well regarded in the hiking community, which is kind of hard to get. There's a lot of hikers out there. And like there are like the in crowd, and she's one of them now, which is because she followed her truth, that she's getting that recognition, she's getting watched. And we'll get into the drawing in a second, but that's what this is really all about. It's not about asking, how can I serve first? What is my mission first? It is about, what is my truth? What is my creative truth? What do I want to focus on? Where is my joy at in this life? And you don't need to know how that's going to translate into money at first. You do not need to know that. And if you're looking for that before the idea actually naturally comes to you intuitively, it's going to be really difficult. So I'm never a proponent for like, just quit your job and follow your dreams. No. That's not comfortable. This can be comfortable, but it's great to start asking the question now. What's been nagging at me for a while? What if I doubted that it could be possible? Like, let's bring that back. Like, what do I really want to spend my time doing? What do I spend my time doing? That's what I'll get to for my revelation. But I want to leave this here for a minute and just like settle this in. Like, Dixie didn't set out to provide a service for people. She just wanted to document her first through hike. But yet she's gotten so many of us out on the trail. She's shown us so much, and she's absolutely providing a service. And that is what happens when you follow your heart. So, yeah.
I could add, actually, I will add, because there's another person. We're using YouTube or like people who have become influencers, because those are like readily available to us. But I just recently saw another person. Well, I'm thinking about this Dixie person who I've never heard of before. The thing that I think is interesting is that like she did become an engineer, maybe because she thought that was the smart, responsible thing to do. But even in choosing where she wanted her job, she was like, where can I be by mountains? Where can I be where it's outdoorsy, right? Like she didn't choose to be an engineer in a high rise in New York City. She chose to be an engineer in Colorado because she was already listening to that part of herself, right? Until she got to a place where she was like, I can't do this anymore. I need to do something else. And that reminds me of, there's someone, I think it's like called Weekend Craft or Weekend, I don't know, because I'm not a craft person or a recipe person, but there's somebody who does that. And I just saw the tiniest little Instagram reel or TikTok or something on her where she tells her story. And she basically like worked her job and did it on the weekends because she loved to do it. Created an Instagram, like a business out of Instagram, just because she wanted to share what she was making on the weekends. And probably got an accidental following, then got a little bit more deliberate about getting a following, then thought, oh my God, maybe I could really do this. Then like actually got to a place of like, okay, what if I could do this? And then quit her job. And then like things took off. But I'm saying that because I think that we often, I have this idea of like, just follow your bliss, like just only do what you love. What do you have to say about that, Rachel?
Well, obviously, I'm a proponent of doing only what you love. And you're right. We just used some influencers, which would make sense because, you guys, it's not about deciding you want to be an influencer and then doing it. It's about when you're actually doing what you love, there is a natural thing of you wanting to share it. Not for everyone, but for a lot of us, when we're actually in what we love, we want to talk about it. We want to share it. We want to document it for ourselves. We want to remember it. We want to be in it. And that can translate into taking pictures of it and putting it online, or videoing ourselves, or making a tutorial for a friend who wanted to know, like, how did you do that? And then you just put it on YouTube because it's easier, and then other people watch it. Like, our physical world is there to meet us. There are ways to receive money from sharing our joy. And that is a lot of what influencing is. It's people sharing their joy for makeup and hiking and crafting and talking and, screenwriting and creating their own movies and films and shows like this. There are easy ways for us to share value. You can give us a super thanks if you want to share your value with us here, or there's probably going to be an ad in this video when it goes up. And that's just our physical life is created from us. This whole world is a reflection of our capability energetically. And so it's only natural that if we are living in an open, receptive state to our higher energies, if we're living in joy and love and peace and contentment and all those wonderful feelings, that is reflected back to us in terms of value, which is what we would call money in this case. So I want to give you an example of my boyfriend, though, because he's not an influencer and he does work a day job. And for some people, that is what they really want to do. He's known since he was a really little kid that he wanted to be a software engineer. And he is, and he's been doing it for a long time. And it's funny because at first he's so good at it, his various jobs kept trying to make him a manager. And he's not a great manager, you guys. He's not really into it, right? And so he didn't necessarily advance up the management track. He kept wanting to go back to being an engineer. But in this job that he currently is at, he's a mentor. So he's not a manager. He's not responsible for anyone. But people come to him daily, all the time, about their problems. How can they do better at this? How can they just check in with someone who's a little bit higher up? and he loves it, loves it, reads books about it, gets better at it, is like just such a joyful part of his day. He loves helping people, but also being an engineer. And he was voted the most helpful person at the company 2 years in a row. And you guys, what does that mean? He got fucking promoted a couple times because he's such a value to the company. But he's only that way because he held to his truth about wanting to be an engineer first, but being a mentor and not a manager. And so it's okay if you're working a day job. This works the same way. Knowing your truth, knowing how you feel your best, that is going to lead you to more money and not micromanaging where it needs to come from. We're going to get back to that. He also had a video game company for a little while, and that didn't really pan out financially, but luckily he didn't need it to. He wasn't trying to force it to be what it wasn't. And so it didn't really derail him very much. So at any rate, I just want to summarize this little part here. Let's focus on you and what makes you happy. And I'm going to get to Dale's question. What if you have a lot of things that you love? That's me too. So, but let's just sink in, ground this for a second. You are the valve. You are the allower. And the more you can embody your higher dimensional energy, which is your truth, the more you let that flow out of you naturally, the more you accept, yeah, it's worthwhile for me to do what I love. Even if I don't know how that's going to translate, even if I don't know if that's going to support me, that's the first step. It's also the first step to accept the abundance that surrounds you, regardless of where it's coming from. If it's coming from, I found a quarter in the ground, perfect. I won $1 in the lottery, perfect. My spouse is working full time and I can work part time, perfect. I get a couple $100 paycheck, perfect. I get a $500,000 paycheck, perfect. Stop judging where the abundance is coming from. Stop judging yourself and relax.
I feel like she's looking at me like she wants me to say something, but I just want to say thank you, because I know I can get in that pattern. I'm actually pretty good at like creating and then resisting and then allowing and then feeling like super duper grateful for and then feeling unworthy and then like right, like there's a whole pattern that goes there. And so I just liked the reminder, accept the abundance that surrounds you. And I know you guys watching have felt this too. When I'm relaxed, when I'm in my joy, when I feel comfortable, when like my life really works well. Things come to me easily. Surprise money shows up. My husband gets a promotion. Somebody sends me a check in the mail. Like those things happen. And if I can just not judge them and feel worthy of them, they keep happening.
Yeah. Yeah. Part of this is that you're not here just to make money. It's okay if you're being supported. It's really, really, really okay. And the more okay it is for you, the easier it will be for money to find you in a way that you actually prefer, right? It's okay to have preferences. It's okay to know, like, I would prefer if money just found my bank account instead of the family bank account or whatever. That's really okay. But we want to stay open, right? That's the key. If we stay open, if we stay on the positive side of the emotional scale, as Abraham would say, we're being open to receiving. If we're judging, if we're doubting, if we're sulking, we're just resisting what could possibly flow. So hello, Corinne. Thanks for being there. And yes, Shannon, thanks for updating your name. That's not, you didn't have to, but that's wonderful. So let me share this drawing with you. So I asked, how do you let the money in? How do you let the money in? And This is not what I thought I was going to get, by the way, but it's cool. So first there's this big heart that's in a very light green. And that is creative truth. Creative truth. And then in a little bit smaller heart is it's like a dusty pink. It's intuitive love. Intuitive love. And then in the center is my contentment color. Contentment. But you see how there are three hearts? I got the feeling that, especially with that intuitive love, your higher self is always loving you. All your core is love. You're probably not used to looking at it all the time. But remember how, like, you have an experience when you're maybe in high school, like your first love in college, where you just felt love all the time in that beginning. It's like, even if you weren't with the person, you were feeling that love, you're feeling that buzz, you felt so good. That's how you naturally feel. And if you could feel it then, you could acknowledge, like, well, I'm the one that creates my feelings. I have to be able to feel it to know it's there, right? So it's happening inside of you. Well, that's because it's always like that. Your higher self is always in love with you. You're always in love with yourself. And that's how this year can feel. That's how this year is wanting to feel. These are arms wrapped around you from the inside out. And your truth is the biggest heart. Your creative truth as a human creator being. And that is important. You are important. So we have you, the biggest heart, and then we have that intuitive love that I know what to do because my higher self is feeding me that guidance with love. And then contentment, which is really important. When we live here, we have eyes, we have senses, and there's a lot we don't like about this planet. It doesn't matter. What's more important? You feeling good? Yes. Or noticing what's not good. Not going to get you very far. So I'm going to tell you my little revelation. Carrie I don't even think I told Carrie yet, but so I go through phases in my life where I'm like super into certain things, but there are actually a few through lines for me. One of which is gardening, which you may or may not know. I've been gardening since I was 2. I was planting little carrot seeds along my driveway as a little kid and planting radishes like in my front yard and just, watching them grow because those are pretty fast growing little tiny nibbles I could pick out of the grass and put in my mouth after I washed them off. And I just thought it was so magical. And I've been doing it ever since. I've had a garden at every place I've ever lived at. And here, we have a lot, like an urban homestead. And every year I plant more and more. And this year we finally got a big growing system downstairs so I can start more seeds. And it's just a passion. And I love to quilt. I love to make things. I'm always making things. Actually, I have like this fantasy in my mind that one day I'll have this little farm store where people can just like come in and buy the things that I've made or grown. And my sister's into it too. We kind of like joke about how we're going to have this store together. And we've done that for years. I've wanted a physical store for 20 years now. Not seriously, but in the back of my mind. And I used to make more of my money from my art, which is what we talked about last week. So anyway, there are a few things I've been doing my whole life: crafting, sewing, gardening. But that's not like a mission, right? And it is how my grandmother made her money, but she wasn't the sole breadwinner. So I've seen crafters making money. I've done it myself. I've had an Etsy store. We used to do craft shows. But when it actually came time to start my business and to see if I can support myself full time, I chose my other gifts, my psychic gifts, which is great. I loved it. I love business. I love coaching. There are things I will never stop doing. But when I asked myself last week, what do I actually do during my free time, during my day, which it's mostly all the time, I am starting seeds. I'm looking at flowers online. I'm sewing stuff. I'm cutting out quilts. I'm, imagining what I'm going to make. And I thought, you know what? My content that takes off is also reflective of that. My van videos online where I'm going out and hiking and traveling, and my gardening content on Instagram is absolutely crazy bonkers. Like I posted a reel months ago about harvesting saffron from some saffron crocuses I grow. I still get likes every single day from that. It's like, what is happening? So I thought that was interesting because I'm a big believer in ease and flow and allowing. And I've been on YouTube now for 11 years, and my teaching service videos, even the things I do for fun, like meditating 8 hours in a day, they don't ever really break, a couple hundred views, which is fine. I don't need them to. But I'm just looking at, well, it's kind of more of my truth and more of my ease to spend more of my time doing the things that I actually do and letting that be my focus. I can still have my businesses, but maybe I think about them more as part-time things and let this other part of me expand, my truth, my joy, my contentment. Let that be a bigger part of my life. And even document that because I love making videos. I love posting things. I will always do that. And it even seems like that will support me because that's where I get my attention from. And of course, I'm still going to be me. I'm still going to be talking about all this stuff in those videos and being here on these live streams. So again, I'm not a jump off the cliff kind of person. I'm still going to do the things that traditionally make me money and that I love to do as well. But I'm just assessing well, the bigger part of my creative truth that I'm actually interfacing with on this planet more is the stuff I just like to do, the gardening, the sewing, the hiking. And do I want to spend more time doing that? Yeah. So I'm going to do it. And that is where this year is leading for all of us. This is an opening. We did that year drawing together. We decoded it. And it's all about living that authentic life that's really wild and squiggly, getting out of the, wobbly parts of that, because people are going to be like, what are you doing that for? I thought you were doing this. What's going on? Getting out of that, following your own path until finally you are free. And that is also where the money is.
Rachel, you guys, okay, she didn't tell me this about, I'm not surprised. I'm excited. And I'm excited because you are doing in front of me the thing that I know is happening inside of me. And so I hope that you guys are experiencing this as well. And I just want to reflect what just happened back. So, also this cup that Rachel has, I love it. I think it's amazing. And every time she holds it up, I'm like, that is a gigantic mug. And she's like, no, I'm just a really small person. It just seems so huge. Okay, but I digress. So the thing that has me excited about everything you just said is that it is, it is an example of everything that we've been talking about for years and years. And you've always said, my van content does really well. My gardening content does really well. But if you were coming at it from a place of, maybe I should focus on gardening content because people want gardening content, and maybe I could turn gardening content into money, ooh, that would die. But that's not the way you're coming at it. You're coming at it from how can I do more of what I love? And is she stopping doing, are you shutting down our group? Are you stopping teaching and doing, but she's not stopping doing the things that she also loves that brings her money. She's just recognizing, oh, I could let money in from these hobby sources. I could let money in. One of these things might wind up becoming the thing. And I mean, you know, my mind really likes to go to all things possible, right? But if someone discovers Rachel's viral hiking video or Rachel's viral van life video and then discovers this whole world, then intuitive art takes off. Then, you know, and anyways, I freaking love it. I am so excited that you have had this recognition the way that you have had it. It feels, I'm feeling it all in the good places. Like it makes me want to yawn. It feels open and relaxed and expansive. And the beauty of this is I have almost no interest in gardening. I have zero interest in quilting, but Rachel is someone who I will watch, right? And that is the beauty of this stuff. I just flip and love it. And what it's helping me. So I think about, and guys, I want your comments about this and maybe what you've struggled with. So when I first came to this world of like, okay, I want to make money by who I am. I definitely started with the make money and like make a list. Like I came at it from the wrong place for sure. I mean, you know, people meant well, saying, well, what are the things you love? Well, like it would be like, Rachel, like which of your videos is doing the best? We'll make 20 more of those. But when it came down to it, I just really wanted to make money having conversations that matter. I wanted to make money like running. I just wanted to combine the things I love. I just wanted to do more of what I love. And somehow, this was the holdup for me. Somehow find a way to get paid for it. And that was the thing that kept me stuck, was somehow find a way to get paid for it. That kept me stuck for so long. And so, like I told you guys, I relaxed. Well, guess what? Now, what am I doing? How am I spending my time now? Right? When I let go of it, it's like I spend most of my time running and coaching, and I love coaching high school kids. So thinking about all the way, like I'm spending my time doing those things, and money is showing up. And talking to Rachel, having conversations that matter. I spend most of my time leading masterminds and small groups of people, and like, hey, what do you know? What do you know? And so I am just relaxing into more of that. And more for me, like personally, it is, just like you are going to lean into the gardening videos and the quilting videos and not really know where those are going to come from. I am going to lean into the coaching high school athlete realm, because for years and years and years, there's been a story in my head that's like, yeah, it's great. You're amazing at it, Carrie. There's no money there. So I'm going to let that story go and just lean into it.
Yeah. I think what you said was so important, because we tend to jump ahead as human beings, right? Because people ask us, let's face it, my boyfriend even, like, oh, okay, you want to do that? Like, I'll have said in the past even like, oh yeah, I like offered, or I'm offering this thing, or I'm creating this program. He's like, oh, how much money has it made? Like, I know Carrie's gotten that from her husband too. Or like, you know, I want to do this thing. Like, oh, how are you going to do that? Like, calm our jets, everyone. Calm our jets. We are huge, multidimensional beings who are connected to source at all times. Where does any money come from? It comes from source. How do we get it? Our higher self fills in our allowing holes. And that's why we need to simultaneously not judge where the money's coming from, and also do more of what we love, because it's not going to be a linear journey. I'm not going to make a gardening video and then someone's going to hand me $500. It's not going to happen like that. I'm going to make a gardening video.
It might, you never know.
It could. I'm not going to say no, but that's not typically how it happens. You know, even if I make $500 from it, it's probably going to come from my AdSense a month later. So I don't need to know where it's coming from, though. That's not the point. We are energetic beings. Our reality shifts to meet our vibration. If we raise our vibration and do more of what we love and take the judgment away from where the money's coming from, take the need to know where it's coming from away, feel good about what we have now, magic, magic, magic. That is what this is saying. Your creative truth plus intuitive love, your intuitive guidance, your intuitive support system, plus contentment. Contentment, don't forget about contentment. Contentment means I am okay right now. I am good. I'm good. I'm supported. I'm here. I'm grounded. I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm okay right now. I can do more of what I love. I don't need to quit my job. I can do more of what I love. I have enough money for food, have enough money for my housing, right? If not, how can you figure out an easier situation? Get a roommate, go move in with someone else, like grow your own. I mean, look, if you're in survival, there's still intuitive love for you. There's still your creative truth. So lean on those things to find your contentment, find your place of stability. We're a whole system, a whole system. We have the ability to create. You are the creator, though. So you need to find a way to release the resistance of how and where the money's coming from. Find a place of feeling abundant and content. And asking yourself, how can I really just do more of what I love? Skyrocketing success awaits you. And we see it happen. This is what, we ran a program last year called Aligned Income. Aligned Income, 6 months of this, which is inside of our coaching group. You get access to that. And it's fantastic at this, helping you rewire yourself to know this, to feel this, to let the resistance go, do more of what you love, feel more abundant. And if you want it, come and join us. Come and join us in our coaching group. And we will not only give you access to the program and many more, but we will coach you 3 times a month in a group format. You get to ask personal questions and help the entire group as you do it. So if you want to join us, we can help you work out the kinks and the wobbles of living this way. Because I know it's not how we're raised. How we're thinking like this is new to so many people. And you can see even me, like I even ignore things for a long time, but that's okay too, right? So anyway, intuitiveart.com/membership. You can learn all about it. You can even use the code ALIGNED for 60% off. I'll put that in the chat if you guys want to chat with Carrie for a minute.
Well, what I want to say about that is I think the other powerful thing about doing this in a group setting, and I know that's why you guys show up to these calls, is because Rachel and I are open and vulnerable. Rachel does behind the scenes videos and sends like what's up, like what's going on, because living this way, it's not like you get there and then that's it and then it's over, right? Like it is a commitment to living vibrationally, and it helps to have a community surrounding you who's also committed to being that way and be immersed in, I want to say, the content. I feel like there's a better language than immersed in the content, but like marinate in the all the good juju. And that's what happens when you're inside the group. You're surrounded by other people who are marinating in all the good juju. And I mean, gosh, like I lead once a month, I lead one of the calls. And like I said at the beginning of the call, there's an intention when we come to that call, but so many people just show up and say like, I just needed to be here to just feel into this. Like I needed to like get my dose of the high vibe so I could go out into the world. And that's what this group is about. There's so much good stuff in there, but ultimately it's a place where you can go more than once a week, more than once a month, right? You can go to regularly get your fix of the juju to set you right so you can head out in the world and I guess like Rachel said, unwobble.
Yeah. And Dale had this question. I don't think I truly head on answered it. It's if you have a lot of loves and interests and curiosities. So this is so important to know, you guys, and non-binary people and ladies. You can disengage what you do from your income. You will more than likely receive money for what you do. I'm not saying that. But you don't have to pick one thing to receive money from. And this is so important for me, knowing now about this whole neurodivergent PDA thing, because I will never be a psychologist. I will never be a musician. I will never be an artist. I will never be one thing. It doesn't work for me. It's never worked for me. And so knowing that it's enough to do what you love and that the money will show up for you, regardless of if that's 17 things that you love or if it's one thing that you love, like my partner. He does one thing. He shows up to one job every single day. He gets to do a lot within that, but he has one job. That's how he receives his money. For me, I get money from all kinds of different places. Actually, I have a spreadsheet open from last year. Let me just count the lines. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 streams of income. 11 streams of income from last year. That's a lot. That's a lot of streams of income. And sorry, I just opened up all of the spreadsheets that I had. So it fills itself in. It fills itself in, and you don't have to micromanage it. You don't have to know where it's coming from. Just feel abundant now. Feel content. Do more of what you love, and don't worry about where the money's coming from. And don't do anything too drastic, right? Don't quit your job and be like, well, where's the money? It will figure itself out, right? Sometimes there's a little bit of a lag between you more deliberately choosing your vibrations and the world lining up with you. Sometimes you got to let go of a little bit more resistance. Sometimes you need some coaching. In the beginning of that year drawing, we go through a wobble period. Remember, we go through that period where we're thrown off. We're living our alignment. We're living more deliberately, but we're a little bit more, wiggly in there because it can be difficult to just, all right, I'm going to live more of my truth and that's it. And no one's ever going to say anything and it's going to be fine. No, we're going to hit a few snags. We're going to doubt ourselves. We're going to go through that. So give yourself time to adjust. And then don't worry. Your reality will rise to meet you because that's how it works. It's not just because it wants to. Oh, because you're such a good person, it's going to come in for you. No, we are the creators. When we decide to raise up our vibrations and in doing so, transcend resistance, our reality rises up to meet us because that is how it works.
Yeah. There was something that you said about, so there's a couple of things that you said. This is my recap. So don't put pressure on the money, which may mean you do something for money that isn't what you love so that you can relax and do more of what you love.
If that's where you're starting from, yeah.
Yeah. And
or
I
if you're in survival and you just need to pay your bills, yeah.
Yeah. And contentment can come from that, right? Like, when you're not worried about if you're able to eat, right? Then you can find contentment and do the things that you love and relax a little bit more. And as you do that, the money finds you. And I think that was the hardest thing for me to understand. Like, still, I backslide in that regard, is recognizing, like, for real, do what you love first, find your alignment first. That was the hardest thing. I was bound and determined. And so if you are that person who is bound and determined, girl or boy or non-binary being, I get you. Like, I see you. And we're here for you. Like, the group is here for you. But Rachel and I are here for you on these live streams. Like, we get it. And just keep opening your heart. Like, I think about those 3 hearts. Like, just keep finding access. What was the middle one? Intuitive love. Keep finding it. Because so much, you have created so much. I have created so much. When we do what we love, when we are in service to our joy, we're in service to, like, our desires, it's really good stuff happens. I'm excited to see what happens in Rachel, in your life and business. I'll be honest, going into 2023, I wasn't feeling this level of optimism. And right now, I'm so excited for you. I'm excited for me. I'm excited for everyone watching. Looks like Gina Maria had a epiphany about writing, right? Like, let's just collectively, let's make a commitment. Whether or not it brings you money, like, let go of money for a second. It's going to bring you contentment. It's going to feed your soul. What could you do to feed your soul? Do that.
And that's the way to look at it, like, I'm not switching into making more videos about my lifestyle because I want to make more money. I'm doing it because that's a more accurate representation of my life and where I'm spending most of my time. And my truth is important to me. And why not? Why not share more of that? Like, it will really light me up. And when I have shared about that, it's gone really, really, really well. So that sounds fun. That sounds really fun. So again, let's take it down a notch. Let's relax. Now, we're not going to go into a tizzy and be like, oh my God, what is my truth? I don't know what my truth is, right? Because we can do that. Just relax. You are a being with all the answers that you need. If you don't have an answer, you don't need it, right? If you want to engage with yourself more, do some intuitive art. What is my truth right now? Where would I like to spend more time? If I had a free day, what would I do? Maybe I'd rest all day. I've done that a lot lately. It really helps. It really, really, really helps. So you have the answers. If you don't have an answer, you don't need it yet. And you matter. Your happiness, your joy, your contentment really, really, really matters. And you will get what you want if you allow it. And that takes a lot of relaxing. So I know something we're not typically very good at, but we can do it. We can do it. All right.
Same,
Well,
Rachel.
yeah, we're there. We're at the end of an hour. I can't believe how fast that went by. But that's why we have a group, because you get to spend more time with us. So we invite you. We have such a good time, you guys, and people get such great results. And I was thinking about that yesterday, like just the amount of growth people have and receiving and letting things in and living more authentically and doing what they love. And it's just so fun to watch. And it's not linear. It is not linear. It is just like that drawing. Like maybe I have it. Here we go. So today we really practiced grounding into ourselves, right? Grounding, finding ourselves, and then glimpsing that authentic living. My really squiggly line of authentic living. But don't forget about this. This is what we were talking about, this muddy color here of like, yeah, it's kind of hard to live really authentically, actually. There's a lot of things in my head telling me that that's not the way to do it. There's books and shows and experts saying that this isn't how it goes. But if you can get through that, there's that structure. There is that deep aligned structure that's there for you that feels a lot more comfortable than this squiggly line. But nonetheless, is your alignment still. So this is the path for this year. And if you can see it through, you're going to be really, really happy. And honestly, if you can't see it through, it's going to be harder and harder and harder to tolerate those things that you're just not wanting to do. We're seeing that too. A lot of tantrums, from myself included. So anyway, your higher self is there for you. Lean into that intuitive love. Okay.
Guys, this was a good one. This was a great one for me. So thanks, Rachel. And thanks, guys, for tuning in and giving your 2 cents.
Yes, we love you too. And we'll see you next week. Bye, everybody. Thanks for coming. Thanks for all your comments.